Hello everybody. This is probably going to be my last video or post on any of the crises that is going on in Nigeria. I have my own life. These things do not directly affect me, and I think it's better for my health, to switch off from all this nonsense and negativity. Before I go further, let us analyze the facts. In the last 24 hours, I have been cursed, insulted, abused, threatened by all manners of people who, out of emotion and anger, will not allow another person to speak. I have had friends that I respect who project whatever their own opinions are on their own Facebook page, who have called to tell me to keep quiet, essentially. Why should I keep quiet if I know that something is wrong? Let's take a look at the protest and let's talk truth. Anybody who has any contrary fact, I challenge you to present those facts. If we are all working for the interest of Nigeria, there is no need for anybody to be lying. There is no need for people to be pulling up pictures that did not happen. Now, there was a protest. I'm going to try and be very brief. The protest was about SARS. Now, SARS is a tactical arm of the police we are familiar with that have abused their powers and generally molested a lot of young Nigerians. The protest started out with great and massive support from everybody because everybody has an experience or the other with SARS. The government responded to the protest. In my experience as a citizen of Nigeria, I have never seen the government of Nigeria respond swiftly to demands of protesters as I have ever seen, up to the president of Nigeria itemizing a plan and starting by dissolving the SARS. And at that point, I and every other reasonable Nigerian would have expected the protesters to take a next step. The protesters did not. The protest continued. Now the demands became amorphous. We didn't really know what the new demands were, but essentially the undertones were political. At the end of the day, the protest was spreading. Anybody who has any experience in managing a protest knows that there are so many factors outside your control. So when you come out to protest, you are trying to get the attention of the authorities on issues that are really, bothering your soul. So when you get the attention of the authorities, ignore the attention of the authorities, and you continue to stay on the street. Every minute you stay on the street, you are creating an environment for breakdown of law and order. That's the absolute truth. So as long as you have your fundamental rights to protest, that fundamental right should not put other people's lives in danger. While we have a government and authorities that the government will analyze a situation and see whether what you are doing is, the government gave you about 2 weeks. See what you are doing, if what you are doing is injurious to the poor people. So we started seeing situations where police stations were razed, prisons were broken, and policemen were killed, resort violence. Those people can rightly say that the people who are perpetrating those violence are not, the initial protesters. That can be a fact. And I would say that is very likely. But when you are running a protest, you open your doors to every Nigerian to show up. Now you know your own intentions as a protester. You don't know the intention of the other man who comes to join your protest and who is very pleased to have an environment where there is no law and order. So, in a protest, hoodlums, you should factor it in. So when they came, that means you lost control of the protest. In Benin was the trigger. People sacked the police station and seized firearms, and then went and released prisoners. So the next day, the government decided to halt the protest. And Benin issued a curfew. Abuja sent troops on the street to maintain law and order. Some people are saying that the police should have been sent. You're right. We have a riot section of the police. But don't forget essentially that this protest is actually against the police. So if you are thinking from the other side, when you see troops, because when you are trying to quell a riot, there would be conflict, there will be injury, there will be all sorts of things. So bringing the same police that is the subject of the protest to come and quell the protest is not a wise thing at that time. So the army was sent in. The army came to Abuja, and the protesters in Abuja, day before yesterday, dispersed peacefully. So I knew, and I'm sure those people had been told, that the army will be in Lagos next, because Lagos was now the only place still standing with the protest. And the governor of Lagos, being proactive, issued a curfew, initially asking people to get off the streets at 4 p.m. I think I saw on his Facebook page where somebody said, why 4 p.m.? And because the curfew was announced in the morning, and he said that he wants to give people who are already outside the opportunity to go back to their homes. And I had some of my young people who have been calling me on a daily basis that have been at that Lekki toll gate, who called me that day, and I advised them, you need to go home. The army is going to come. And the army actually came, and I have a video I posted this morning where you see the army addressing a community. They didn't come to kill people. The army came to disperse the crowd. The first video that was circulating, you see when the army came into that place, they already anticipated there would be resistance. The first guys were shouting, fuck you, fuck you. If you watch that video, they switched off the lights because they needed to put the element of fear. The army fired blank rounds. I mean, people have picked up shells from that toll gate. They fired blank rounds, picked up the shells to scare the people. Those blank rounds are a little bit louder than if they were live rounds, actually. And then they put on flares, you know, like lights. So if people immediately heard those sounds, pandemonium broke. They are shooting us, they are shooting us. Bam. Stampede. People ran. Then the second and the horrible part, our people came on social media immediately. A friend of mine argued with me today that 78 people died in Lekki toll gate. And immediately they lit the fire of a massacre at Lekki toll gate. Even I at first believed it. Then when I started to look at the facts, because I have been burnt on social media so many times, I take every information that I get on social media with a pinch of salt, because everybody disseminating that information mostly has an agenda. I was angry when I saw a video of a Nigerian that was burnt in South Africa, not knowing that that video had nothing to even do with the incidences going on in South Africa at that time. So people can manipulate facts. People, and the way people had kind of pushed on, you know, this protest, people have an agenda. So by the time you knew it, people said all sorts of videos, all sorts of pictures, all sorts of stories. They put the picture of some officer and his family that he's the one that ordered to kill people. Okay, I know that by the time the day breaks, we will know the body count. I was very pained. In fact, I made a video only for me to now start to make contacts and calls and find out that the informations flowing through social media were very, very inaccurate. It would be evil for me to know that evil for me to know that and keep quiet. I'm not better than SARS if I do that. And whether you abuse me, whether you insult me, whether you call me any name, if our objective is a better Nigeria, there is no need for us to be lying and putting propaganda pictures and videos on social media to incite people. And that is exactly what we did. And look at where it ended up. So by the time that came out, first and foremost, I will fault this government for a number of things. One of their worst failures. This government is very poor in communication management. The Nigerian army is yet to give an official position on how they got to that place and how they engaged the protesters. It is absolutely wrong. So they have allowed the other narrative to travel far and wide. Initially, when the information came out, I checked reliable international media. I saw local media, reliable international media, CNN, BBC. They first didn't report it. The Nigerians were there abusing them and insulting them. And when they reported it, they reported that protesters said. CNN reported that there were shootings. They didn't say the army. Protesters said. That's what they said, because they were careful. Because I understand they asked also, because that's their job, for hard evidence. Why should you be afraid of hard evidence? Why, if I know that they kill people in that place, what is in my interest to cover it up? But if I know that people are providing, now look at pictures. Lucy died. They say Lucy was the one that was killed there. Find out Lucy died 2 days before in an Okada accident. Another one, they put the picture, that person died in a Akwa Ibom. Another one was a drama. What's going on, people? What's going on? It's impossible that the Nigerian army will walk into a crowd of 50,000 people and fire live rounds and we will see no bodies. Even if they picked up the bodies, like some people say, there will be families on air crying now, asking where their children are. Don't suspend your brain because of politics. So when you do those kind of, when that kind of scenario happen, I'm waiting. Where we know everybody that was killed by SARS. There are documentaries, they will give you their names. Who are the victims? So last night I didn't sleep. I made a lot of calls. I spoke to somebody in the Lagos State government, and they told me there were people in the hospital. How many? There were less than 20. 2 of them critical conditions. A few more mild to moderate injuries was the description. Any fatalities not at the toll gate, specifically after the toll gate, and the whole of the media scenario and the military kind of stepped down, then the real purpose of all the destruction started. The burning. They burned the toll gate, they burned a bank building. The guy who first died in the carnage. They were trying to loot the bank. That's after the shooting. Then they burned, I understand they burned Oriental Hotel. Earlier in the day, they burned Lagoon Hospital. They burned BRT buses. They burned TVC, television station. And I'm asking, to whose benefit is all of this? If we speak about SARS, one of the most notorious, most reputed killing fields of SARS was in Akuzu, in Anambra State. The commander of that SARS is a guy called Nwafo. He retired from the police, and Peter Obi made him his security officer, and still the present governor made him a security officer until these riots started. And people started to speak. So this guy, what's his name? I don't remember his name. The governor of Anambra sacked him. Before he could be arrested, I understand that Nwafo has run out of the country. They say Nwafo has a place in Akuzu, near Oka, where they have buried the bodies of men. The parents of those people are alive talking. They are looking for their children. That is in Oka, and that is one of the worst places. In fact, I know a story of a minister. There's no even need for me to hide names. Diziani. There was a story about somebody who went to go and steal some money from his house, our house in Abuja, and ran away. And they could not find the guy. He had gone out of the country. So the guys transferred some money to somebody who was maybe an agent to buy something for him. So well, of course, you know Nigeria, when they couldn't find the guy, they picked up that guy. That guy was an innocent doing his business. They picked that guy, put him at, he was a vendor in Lagos Island. They picked him up, put him at the back of a pickup and drove him to Oka. Oka SARS. Diziani knows Oka SARS is deadly. They didn't take him to, the crime happened in Abuja, they didn't take him to police station in Abuja, they didn't take him to police station in Lagos. They put him at the back of that pickup from that place and drove him to Oka. That's how notorious the SARS in Oka was. His family was busy looking for him in Lagos. They thought he had been kidnapped. Until essentially they found out that, this is what happened. And they were able to kind of find a way to get him out of the place. That's how notorious that Oka SARS was. And the people of Oka have not burned down their city. The people of Oka have not burned down their city. We have burned down Lagos. And we are the intelligent, educated, sophisticated. That's what we call ourselves. We are better than everybody. But just look at how people just push your button and you destroy your own city. There are people now, all sorts of things. I don't know what's wrong with us. Me, let me just tell you my own position now. I really don't care anymore. There are some Nigerians that are intent on destroying their country. You can go ahead. I saw some people share all sorts of information I've seen. So some young guy, I don't know, something Lagos, they will mean Lagos or something, sending some tweet or something to some other younger people, telling them that, oh, take video. You can go to the US Embassy and Canada Embassy and they will give you refugee status. So for that, you are willing to lie and destroy your country. All the things that have happened now, a lot of people yesterday were emotional. Nobody wants to hear that the army went and mowed people down. Go and look at pictures of the shell casings that were taken from that place. Anybody who knows anything about arms, Ahmed Mahmoud was talking, somebody was arguing with him. Ahmed has a military background. Peter Lawson has a military background. I've seen people that have five tours in Afghanistan. When you look at those bullets, the silver bullets are blank. The bronze bullets are live. So making a video. The bronze bullets are live. So when you see the bullets, you will see maybe about 10 silver bullets and maybe 1 or 2 bronze bullets. So somebody asked a question, I think it was Shadow, asked, okay, why is there even a live cartridge there? I couldn't explain it, I'm not a military guy, right? But Ahmed was saying, because I said, well, maybe they still gotta hold some live rounds just in case things turn bad. But Ahmed explained to me that actually when you want to fire blanks, for you to first start to fire from a machine gun, you need to fire a live round first, because a live round is what has the necessary recoil to now start the blanks from firing. So one way or the other, I'm waiting for the people who have reported the massacre. And I understand, as I said, there are 20 injuries, now 1 fatality from the tollgate event, because among the 2 people that were injured critically, I understand one of them has passed away a couple of hours ago, and the governor of Lagos State has kind of confirmed that. And the Reddington Hospital was where the guy passed away. His cause of death is listed as blunt force trauma. He hit his head on something, or somebody hit his head with something. It wasn't bullets. And we've gone, I've seen a fake tweet from Mohamed Salah, the soccer player. I've seen a tweet from Hillary Clinton about massacre in Nigeria. I don't know whether it's a genuine tweet or not. There is so much fuckery going on. So who are the people behind this fuckery? Who are the people who want to destroy this country? You think that Nigeria is a country of 200 million people. There's nobody going to take you as a refugee. Believe me. Every country is struggling with their own crisis now. There's corona everywhere. There's political crisis all across the world. I'm saying it to you again. There is no magic button to make a great nation. There's no magic button to switch on. Absolutely not. It's a process. If the government said we are going to go through police reforms, we want you to sit with us, tell us what you want. Do you think that minute the police will change? No. There are basic deep problems that we have. Do we pay the police enough? Do we train them well? Do we equip them well? So with that, would you begin to see effect? Would they change their salary the same day? Would they become better policemen the same day? Would they recruit new policemen the same day? So it's a process. So at the point where you have got the ear of the government about that process, why didn't you sit down with the government, if your interest is the country, to say, this is what we want. No cop can stop me on the street and ask me to give him my phone. No cop can ask me for more than my driver's license or my insurance. No cop can bust into my house without a court warrant. This is what I would expect the brilliant youth, so to say, to have followed up on. Not an endless waste of lives, property. We have burned down Lagos. We have burned, and I'm telling you, I'm reading all sorts of comments about politics. I understand there is a machination to demarket Mr. Tinubu's presidential ambition. I don't care about all those things. But how many people work in Oriental Hotel? How many people work in TVC? How many people work in Lagoon Hospital? How many people work in the Lagos office of the Nigerian Port Authority? All burnt down. For what? And we successfully folded the hand of the army, who could easily, just the same way they suspended the demonstration, because you cannot have an endless demonstration. When you first establish that fact, your fundamental human right does not allow you to suspend the human right of other people to go and earn a livelihood. You can't do that eternally. So at some point, if you are not ready to shift, the government are giving you enough time to shift, they will have to take you out. And as I said, the army showed up in Abuja and everybody went home. Sowore was posting defiance. Sowore is on bail. I don't even know why they're allowing him to do all this bullshit. It's defiance. They should go there to defy the curfew. Once I see people who start their conversation with Nigeria is doomed, or I'm tired of my country, I don't even read it. But the truth of the matter is that this is the country going through a transition. This is the country trying to move from many years of stagnation. It's not only the people in public office that make a country. Citizens. The citizen's office is the highest office. So when you have citizens who are willing to lie, to instigate chaos in their country. I mean, there's a guy, I had to block him yesterday, Odenigbo. This is a guy who openly calls Nigeria a zoo. He expresses dislike for Nigeria. And all throughout this whole crisis, he's taking a position that constantly aggravates the situation. I think we should think, first and foremost, protest, Chilangba. Youth, well done on organization. You have seen the limits of ability. When you become leaders, you just led a group of 100,000 people and it went out of control. So just imagine if you are leading 200 million. So take the lessons that you learned from this mishap. Don't back down. Continue to engage the government on your demands of police reforms. Get into the political process. Join parties, form parties, run for office, bring new ideas. That's how this country can work. There is no magic. God bless everybody.